Hi, it's Nancy Johnson. I want to tell you my story and share with you how I got here. It's my 35th anniversary. I can't believe it, but everybody has a story, and I want to share mine with you. I got into real estate in 1986. I know for some of you listening, you probably weren't even born then, but in 1986, real estate was quite different. And how I got to the point of real estate, I am the oldest of 12 children. I'm from Williamsburg County, in particular, Kingstree, South Carolina. And we moved from Kingstree to Hollywood, Florida, Hallandale, to an apartment. And the apartments were Gulfstream apartments. And we lived in number 5. And I didn't know it was called real estate then. But being the oldest of 12, my mother would go off to do day work even on the weekends. And right around about 10 o'clock on Saturday morning, the rent man would come knocking on the door. And there were days when we didn't have it. And the rent was $12 a week. So if my mother had it, she'd count the money out and say, roll out the glass and hand him the money, and then he'd write your receipt. Well, there were some times when we didn't have $12 to pay the rent. A single mom with 3 children at that point. And so I knew and I witnessed enough times that man coming to the door, collecting what was rent, which was real estate. And as a 10-year-old, I knew I wanted to be on the other side of the door. I wanted to be the person receiving instead of giving. So that was my first experience with real estate in Hallandale, Florida. But I grew up in Williamsburg County in a 1-bedroom home, 2 sisters with 3 children each. And we didn't have indoor plumbing. We didn't have running water. We didn't have a refrigerator. We had a lot of love, and we took care of what we had. And so when I think about how I got to where I am, coming from the cotton field to the capital city of Columbia, it was in a roundabout way. When I got married and moved to Connecticut, my husband and I bought our first home at 20 and 21 years old. And that was the start of us owning real estate. So then we were transplants back to South Carolina, and I got a job at a major insurance industry. I had worked 11 years in Connecticut at the same insurance company, came and put in another 8.5 here in Columbia. Well, it got to the point where, sometimes you have to make a decision, and it's not always comfortable. You have to sometimes get uncomfortable to be comfortable. So I got to the point, I'd gotten a lot of promotions in the 9 years I worked in the industry here, but I got to the point where it was time for that ultimate promotion. And I was told, no, you can't go any higher than manager because you don't have a degree. Well, that didn't sit well with me because I'd done and gotten nearly 11 promotions in less than 9 years. So I decided to make a change. And I thought, what would I be happy doing? I love helping people. I don't like people telling me how much I can make. I feel like if I can do the work, if I can excel, then the sky should be the limit. So I thought about real estate because I'd gotten my license in 1978 in New Haven, Connecticut, and used it for about a year. And so when I came to South Carolina, it was get back in the workforce and climb that corporate ladder. Well, the glass ceiling was shattered, and I was not even making $22,000 a year. So I said, let me do something that I enjoy and something where the income is unlimited. And real estate, I found that I could operate my business. The sky's the limit. I don't have to wait for somebody to give me a 6% increase. And I'm really working the business. So I have a passion for opening doors for others. And my slogan quickly became, it's my business to open doors for you. So 35 years ago, I took the real estate exam. And what real estate looked like then is not what it looks like now. There were no cell phones to keep your information in. You could not call people during the day on their jobs because they couldn't have calls at work. We used a Rolodex to keep track of our clients' personal information, name, their address. There was no email, no computers, no fax machines, no social media. Can you believe that? So we had to operate building and making our own systems. And I did that. I remember waiting at the mailbox, checking every single day, because it took about 3 weeks for you to get the results. And by nature, I always wanted to make an A on everything. Well, when it came to real estate, I just wanted to pass. So that particular day when I went to the mailbox and I got my grade, I think it was like 86 or 87, and I was happy. That was the day my life changed forever. Forever. I never dreamed that real estate would be one of those things that I would excel at, that I would love, and that I would get to, to give back to people and to help them to reach their goal. So without social media, without the cell phone, without computers, I learned quickly that you had to have a system. You had to make it happen. Nobody was going to give you anything. As a matter of fact, when I started with the company, I didn't even realize that I was the first African American that they had hired. And then I worked around what we want to call the top dogs in the business. And one guy who was at the top, he said to me about a year ago, he said, Nancy, when you came to the company, I said to myself, what does she think she's doing? She quit a job to come to this business that is basically dominated. It's really a male, Caucasian dominated business. And that's what it was when I got into real estate. But he said, you know what? As I watched you walking around in the office, I saw the fire in your eyes. And I knew, I said, this one is going to make it. So real estate has not been easy, but boy, has it been rewarding. I have been able to blaze some trails. I would say that I've been either on the buyer or the seller side of nearly 2,400 transactions. And that means that I get to now help people second and third generations. And that is very rewarding. And so my journey, my story started in a 1-bedroom apartment where there were 3 children and a single mom. And over the years, we have been able to work this thing called real estate to accumulate a lot of properties. And so when I share with people why I think it's better to own than to rent, I have a history. I know what it feels like. And I know what it feels like to rent. I know what it feels like to not be able to pay your rent. And I know what it feels like to own many properties. So I tell anybody, real estate is a wealth vehicle. And how fast you drive it, how careful you are, risk. Everything involves risk. So if I were to leave something with you, and I've left a lot in this book, not just about real estate, but my journey from the cotton field to the Capitol. It's been a great one. And I would say that the Bible encourages us to leave an inheritance for our children and our children's children. And you know what? You can't leave what you don't own. So I say to anybody, whether you want to get into real estate as a business, because it is a business. You are the CEO, and it is what you make it. If you're not a people person, if you don't love solving problems, don't get into real estate. But if you do love doing those things and you have a love for people and helping them, well, real estate is for you. And you know what? Unlike some other things, real estate is never going to go out of style. Everybody needs a place to live. They're going to rent or they're going to own. And so I'd like to say that if you don't own real estate, you need to think about it seriously. And if you do own real estate and you want to get into the business, by all means, think before you leap, but just know it can be a great ride to the top. And I'm enjoying mine even 35 years later. Love what you do, become the expert at it, do it better than most, and your gifts will make room for you. Real estate has been that for me. It continues to get my attention every single day. And as I said, the $1 million producer, my journey from the cotton field to the Capitol. And I thank every single person that I've met on the journey. It's my business to open doors for you. When it's time to buy that home, let me get the door for you. Thank you.